Hello everyone, today is 17th of April. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, first of all, let's have a look on today's GS folder. So today we'll take a quote from B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of Indian Constitution. He says, "A great man is different from an eminent one in that he is ready to be the servant of the society." Now guys, this particular quote perfectly captures that what needs to be outlook and attitude for the civil servants into the Indian democracy. Now, often it has been said that the Indian bureaucrats they behave like an officer and not as the servants, and that particular thing is responsible for bringing a kind of an elitism or a kind of a babu culture into the bureaucracy. But now this particular thing is needed to be changed, and a notion of being a servant to the society needs to be instilled into the civil servants. And into this particular direction, even the government is coming out with many of the post recruitment training programs such as Mission Karma Yogi, etc. And you also need to take this particular pledge that you will always be ready to be the servant of the society. Now guys, this particular idea we can utilize into the GS paper number 4 into the topic of foundational values of the civil servants as well as in GS paper number 2. So that is all about the GS folder, and now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now friends, taking up the first article, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. And guys, from last few days majorly all the newspapers are filled with the rising number of COVID cases, elections and all such kind of things. Guys, please be very selective into those kind of coverages because much of them are not relevant for your examinations. However, this particular article is talking about the impact of the pandemic onto the gender, and therefore it will be important for your GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 2 into the society as well as into the social justice. Now guys, a report has been published by the name of COVID in Her Voice, a girl led and centered participatory research study. Now this particular study has been conducted by Empower, which is a global philanthropy, and the report has also been supported by the United Kingdom government. So it happens to be an influential report. It has surveyed the girls from the age of 13 to 24 and had seen that what impact has been there onto them by the pandemic. By the way, guys, already the United Nations women had called the pandemic as a shadow pandemic onto the women. Now, guys, coming on to the findings. First of all, it has been said that the biggest challenge that has been faced by the girl is that they are unable to attend the online school, and this limitation comes because first of all the internet connectivity is very much restrained. After that, the accessibility to the devices into particularly into the lower middle classes as well as into the lower classes is very much restrained, and even if it is there, first priority is given to the males. Then guys, there is a third more reason that is coming is that 80% of the women had seen an increase into the household responsibilities and household chores, due to which they are not able to devote the time onto the study. And guys, 64% of the girls as well as young women, they feel that they do not even have the space or time to study online. And as we talked about the non-accessibility of devices and internet, 28% of the girls said that they don't have the functional mobile phones or the internet accessibility. Then guys, it has been said that a kind of a pressure is also coming on to the girls to get married early, and this particular thing can also increase the instances of child marriages into the India. About 42% of the girls believe that they will be married off early because of this particular pandemic. And then guys, when we talk about the mental stress, mental trauma, nearly 90% of the girls had quoted that they have the mental despair and they don't know about the coping mechanism. Moreover, the gender violence also tends to be increased, and it has been said that the 26% of the girls they believe that there is an increase into the gender based violence, and there are the fears and threats that this particular violence will further be intensified if restrictions will be carried or if new lockdowns will be imposed. Now guys, when we talk about these gender based violences and all such kind of instances, we can also equate that a bodily autonomy or a bodily integrity is not being given to the women, and this particular thing already we have taken up into a report that was given by the United Nations Population Fund. So guys, these are some of the findings, and if you are facing interview this particular year or even if you are appearing for 2022 attempt, these particular examples, case studies, you need to quote into your answers. So guys, please do keep it in your mind, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article has been taken from the Business Standard newspaper, and it can be important for your GS paper number 2 as a case study that how world over the policing and enforcement agencies are using the technologies, robots to enhance their surveillance as well as supervision capabilities. Now, guys, here it has been said that now the robo dogs or the robot dogs are being deployed by the police around the world. And here we can see that recently the New York Police Department has utilized the robot dogs with the police officers, which will accompany them onto the patrolling duty. After that, the Singapore is also utilizing the robot dogs for maintaining the social distancing as well as to see that the public spaces are safe and secure. And then, guys, the French army had also proposed that the robot dogs will be inducted into the French military and they will be assisting the regular soldiers. Now, guys, what are the first of all the benefits that these robots or these kind of autonomous weapons can give? We will see them one by one. First of all, these entities are canine shaped robots. It means that they look like a dog. They have a four-legged mobility. Now, the four-legged mobility gives them a capability that in any kind of terrain they can venture very easily. Then they are partly autonomous as well as they also employ the artificial intelligence to take the decisions into the critical times. Now, guys, when we talk about these devices, they also have enough number of sensors and radars, which also gives them good surveillance capabilities. Now, first of all, they can play the assisting role. For example, they can carry the loads and has even been used as pack animals by the US Army into the Afghanistan. And in a way, they can also reduce the burden on a soldier in terms of carrying the heavy weaponry and heavy kind of equipments. After that, guys, as they have variety of cameras and sensor, they can also be used into the factories to do the repetitive task. And into the US Air Force, they are experimenting that they can be utilized into the perimeter patrol of the air bases. Guys, you know that into the Pathankot there was an attack onto the Indian air base. So into such kind of capabilities also these kind of robo dogs can be used. Moreover, guys, they can also be used in toxic or radioactive environment where there is a imminent danger into the humans. Now, and as we are talking about the pandemic of COVID-19, they can also be used in order to maintain the safe distancing into the usually crowded area. Even the Singapore is using that particular aspect. Further, they can also be utilized to check out the potential minefields into the areas which are facing the insurgency. Then, guys, many a times there is a terrain where it is hard to search or to check for possible ambushes. They can be used there, as well as into the bomb disposal they can use. Now, just a couple of days back, we have seen that into the Chhattisgarh there was attack onto the paramilitary force. So onto such kind of area to check the ambush, they can be sent as a kind of a leading troops. Now, so these are all the potentials of these robo dogs, these kind of autonomous weapons or autonomous vehicles. However, guys, at the same time, there are certain threats as well as the fears also. Here, the United Nations has called that such autonomous weapons should not be used as they can lead to a kind of a crisis into the future because of their artificial intelligence. They can be hacked and they can become a kind of a weapon onto the using party themselves. Moreover, guys, it has been seen that many a times they fly themselves. We are talking about the drones because they are also kind of an autonomous weapon, and many a times they use the facial recognition and image analysis to identify targets to attack them. Even the USA has earlier used the autonomous weapons, the drones, to target the victims. Now, guys, this particular thing brings a kind of an ethical crisis that what if a kind of a wrong facial analysis is made? Now, guys, when we talk about this particular issue, then, guys, recently it has been seen that the South Korea have recently considered that onto their boundary, that is onto the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, they will be setting up the autonomous machine guns, and these autonomous machine guns will be fed up with the password every day and will be motion activated. And if any person is not having the relevant password, or if there is a moving target, they would shoot them. Now, guys, this particular thing can also bring an ethical crisis. What about the animals, and what about a person who is having a kind of an odd accent and he might not be a kind of an insurgent, might not be knowing a password? So, guys, these are both the positives as well as the negative sides of bringing the technology. Now, guys, why it is important into the India? Because as we talk about the GS paper number 3, also there is a section of the internal security, and where the enforcement agencies are being supposed to be equipped with the technology. Even, guys, into the policing, the idea of smart police have been talked by the Prime Minister. Now, the idea of smart police was given in 2014, and the smart stands for S stands for sensitive and strict, M stands for modern with mobility, A stands for alert and accountable, R stands for reliable and responsiveness, T stands for trained and techno savvy police. and into this smart policing and all such kind of things, guys, this particular thing needs to be kept into the mind that the technology is a double-edged sword, and there could be some potential risk as well as some potential benefits. So guys, please keep this particular dimension into your mind for the sake of your examination. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and in brief, it is conveying the idea that how the world will be having a decentralized international order where there will be no one nation which will be having the absolute power. Now, guys, first of all, if we see the basic premise, the era was Pax Britannica till the World War II, where the hegemony or the superiority of the Britain was there. But, guys, as majority of the World War II was fought onto the European soil, the hegemony of the Britain went down, and the era of Pax Americana came after the World War II, particularly after the Suez Crisis of 1956. Now, guys, as the America became supreme, onto the sidelines, there were some other developments were also happening. Number one, a parallel order was being created by the newly independent countries such as India and many of the countries from South Asia and Africa. Collectively, they came together as a non-aligned movement, and there was the Bandung Conference, which started all this particular thing in 1955. And at the same time, guys, the China also started to rise. And now today, when we see what had happened, these parallel powers they had are being called as the aspiring nations, and even some of them are also called as middle powers, particularly the countries such as the India, Japan, etc. And at the same time, guys, today if we see the China's rise, which began during the 1970s and 80s, today China had proved to be a well established power weight, and it can be seen that progressively China's military budget is also increasing. As of now, nearly $230 billion. It shows that how China's economic superiority is reinforcing its military prowess. Now, along with the China, guys, there is also the Russia, which is frustrated with the USA. Now, exactly what I'm trying to say that the era of Pax Americana is being challenged by all of them. Number one, by the aspiring nations. Number two, by the China, and number three, by the nations such as Russia, which are antagonized with the America's superiority. No, guys, at the same time, these are improving. America's superiority is declining as a dent has been created. America is now not being seen as a kind of a global brother. Why? Because there are certain number of factors. First of all, guys, after coming of the Trump regime, there are many of the foreign policy debacles that has been committed by the USA. For example, threats given by the USA to withdraw from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Then there is the withdrawal from the Paris Agreement onto the climate change. Then, guys, there is also a kind of a racist obsession and a kind of a right wingism that is being done by the USA with their America First policy, with their attack onto the immigrants and all such kind of things. So this particular thing had dented the USA's image, and at the same time China is projecting itself as an economic powerhouse, and by the Belt and Road Initiative it is also very aggressively promoting its foreign cooperations with the countries. Now, guys, though the COVID-19 pandemic has come, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, many of the countries who are the aspiring nations, their economy has suffered. Even the China's spectacular rise has been stalled for a particular period of time. But, guys, within 1 to 2 years, they will again be reaching to the pre-COVID-19 level, and then they can more strongly can challenge the America's hegemony. Now, guys, though we are saying that a kind of a decentralized world has been created where the China seems a kind of a challenger to the USA, but guys, China also has its own limitation as well as its own problems. Many a times China's view can be called as a microscopic view, because it is more concerned about its own economic prowess, its own economic self-sufficiency. And this thing, it has been seen that China has picked up the irritants into the South China Sea with the neighbors such as the LAC issue with the India, and likewise. Now, guys, further it has been said that the China, rather than being a kind of a hegemon into the Asia, rather than being a kind of a bully into the Asia, needs to be a responsible power and needs to bring the aspiring nation into its camp, so that a kind of an Asian multipolarity can be projected into the times to come. So, guys, this is the entire lucid and concise idea that has been contained into this particular article. Guys, on to the similar lines, even yesterday we have taken up this particular article. So, guys, that is all about this. I hope you have understood, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it is talking about the vaccine diplomacy that India had followed into the recent times. And you know that by this vaccine diplomacy, even there is a criticism of the government is going on, because it has been said that first of all, we supplied the vaccine to the other countries and now there is a shortage to vaccinate our own people. Now, guys, into this particular respect, the reply was given by the Minister of State into the Ministry of External Affairs. He had said that up till now approximately 65 millions of the vaccine had been given to the foreign nations, and these 65 million vaccines had been actually been given onto the three crowns. Number one, they are being given just as a grant to the countries which cannot afford the vaccine. Secondly, they have been given onto the commercial basis. And thirdly, they have been given under the Gavi's COVAX alliance, which aims to support the provide the vaccine to the countries which are not able to afford the vaccine, particularly to the least developed countries, sub-Saharan countries, etc. Now, guys, it has been said that when the vaccines are being given as a grant, it is a strategic foreign policy tool. When it is being given onto the commercial basis, it is a kind of an endorsement of the commercial agreements that had already been signed. And when it is being given as a part of a Gavi's COVAX alliance, it is a kind of an obligation that has been imposed onto the India, because India had also received the vaccines under the Gavi earlier, and now it is our obligation also. Now, guys, this particular thing has been criticized, but there is a foreign policy precedent that is also existing, and it supports such a kind of decision by the India. Now, guys, for the first time, such kind of viewpoint into the foreign policy was put into the objective resolution that was moved by Jawaharlal Nehru into the Constituent Assembly in 1946. He said that India is a ancient land and it has attained its rightful and honored place in the world, and India makes its full and willing contribution to the promotion of world peace and the welfare of the mankind. And now, as we are providing the vaccine, it is the welfare of the mankind. And even the Prime Minister had followed this vision, and he said into the Raisina dialogue that we must think of the entire humanity, not merely as of those who are on our side of borders. Humanity as a whole must be at the center of our thinking and action. So, onto the humanitarian concerns, it has been said that all such kind of vaccines had been supplied. And if we put this particular step into the standard foreign policy theories, we can say that right now India is following a kind of an idealism where we believe into the utmost cooperation, brotherhood, and all such kind of things. Now, guys, idealism is opposite to the realism. Realism is a that side of foreign policy which says that there is extreme national interest that is to be kept into the mind, and there can be the competing interest, and first of all we need to serve our own interest. Now, guys, see, when we talk about the foreign policy, India's stand is also not very much clear. When the China comes, we turned to be more realist, and when these particular type of matters comes, we are becoming more end of idealist. Now, this particular thing is also true that all these obligations were to be provided, but guys, the national interest is most important and it cannot be ignored. The question comes, how the government will justify its own people that we are supplying the vaccine to the other countries. Moreover, it has been provided that always there is the matter of a sovereignty, and by exercising the sovereignty, country can overrule all the obligations, and it could also have been the approach that India should have taken right now. So, guys, this is the entire viewpoint that has been provided into this particular article. And always please keep in mind that you don't need to too much politicize this particular issue also. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Friends, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it talks about the US pull out from the Afghanistan, as the USA had already declared that before the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 they will withdraw their troops. Now, guys, already we have taken up this particular article and on to the Afghanistan's peace process. Many times we have discussed this particular issue. Only the basic premise here is that this particular exit will just leave the Taliban more stronger, and Taliban can again recapture the power into the Afghanistan and can make the Afghanistan the breeding ground of terrorism. So rather than a hurried withdrawal, more of a sustainable solution should have to be found out. So, guys, that is all. Much substance is not there, and multiple times had already been discussed this article. So if you want, you can just make a reading. So that is all. Now we'll move to the next article. Guys, this article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper and it is a kind of a brief update with respect to the Iran's stand onto the ongoing Vienna talks. Now, first of all, Vienna talks have been seen 2 days back, where we have seen that the countries they are talking that the USA as well as Iran should come into the joint comprehensive plan of action, under which the Iran will say that we will not go for the uranium enrichment and will not produce the war grade uranium. Earlier, the joint comprehensive plan of action was signed, but USA withdrew it under the Trump regime. Now, it was expected that when the Joe Biden will become the president, he will show a kind of a hurried response onto the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and it will remove the sanctions onto the Iran. But a kind of a standstill had come. Now, in order to build a pressure onto the USA, Iran says that if soon the decision onto the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action is not taken, they will enrich their uranium to 60%. And for time being, it has been said that for a brief period it will be a symbolic gesture, and as just a few grams of uranium will be enriched. But if soon something will not be done, then the quantity will also be increased, and basically all this particular thing will be done onto the Natanz nuclear facility into the Iran. And basically, guys, it is a kind of a pressure building approach that the Iran is taking. So guys, that is all. You don't need to follow the day-to-day approach here, and into the long term we need to see that what exactly is happening onto the joint comprehensive plan of action. So guys, that is all about this particular article. You don't need to go too much into the detail because this is a very evolving kind of situation and it will change very rapidly. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis. I hope that you have understood the article. So that is all. Thank you so much.